Okay, let me connect and then.
All right. Good evening. My name is Raimundo Reyes, and I am the host for Community Advisors RSR. My co-host for the show is Maria Segari, La Contadora Latina, and Edward Rodriguez from Lula District Council 18. And today we're going to be talking about the second stimulus check, the work that is being done in Congress and in the political side of the world. And then we're going to be talking how when is it going to be released, our expectations, how much people are going to get, and how do people going to apply for that second stimulus check. And so we're going to get into details, and then we're going to be talking about unemployment and as well the executive order that the president signed on unemployment. Maria, have you had any comments or about the.
Yes, yes. Good night, everybody. My name is Maria Segueri. I'm La Contadora Latina from Houston Tax Professionals. I have important updates they were released today. So we have a lot of things that we're gonna discuss and talk about the second stimulus check. We have good info, and also to the people that have been asking on inbox about when and how. I have those answers today for you. And I'm also gonna present Edward Rodriguez from LULAC.
Hello, good night, and welcome. My name is Ed Rodriguez. I'm from LULAC District 18 here in Houston. We deal with a lot of different things on civil rights and the community in general and try to get answers. One of the things that tonight we're going to be talking about is the stimulus, unemployment, and we'll hopefully have you some good answers tonight. So we need your questions though. The more questions you give us, the easier it is for us to tell you what's going on.
Definitely. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or in general, you can write the comment in the comment sections here in Facebook or in our other social media platforms whenever you watch the video. And we can always share the comments and concerns or whatever you want to ask Maria or Eduardo or myself. And we're free. You're right. What I mean is that you can reach us anytime. We're here for you to answer your questions. Okay. Maria, if you can start about the stimulus.
Yes, so I have really good updates about the stimulus check. We have a date, that what we think that would be the best scenario as far as when people is gonna get the stimulus checks, the second stimulus check. Okay, so Edward, you want to talk about how the first stimulus check worked out?
Yeah, sure. The first stimulus check was really something that needed to be done. It was done pretty quick with both the Democrats and Republicans to get things going. The checks were set up to help anybody in the community because of not being able to work. The original check was for $1,200 per person and $500 per child. That didn't happen all the way. Some people got the two $1,200 checks, and some people didn't get the $500 for the kids. Some people who were in a different classification weren't even allowed to get any checks because of the way that their marital status was set up. If you were married to somebody who did not have documentation or a social security number, then you are not allowed to get your money. Now, that didn't mean that you're not going to get it, but you couldn't get it immediately like everybody else did. So that's something that is still being kind of worked out. This that check on top of the unemployment that was authorized, which was around $600 a week for anybody who was unemployed, was a great deal. But we still had a small problem there too. Problem was that $600 comes out to about $2,400 a month, which is a lot of money, and sometimes a lot of more money than people were making when they were at work. So that hurt a little bit. They're kind of working that out on the second one. I think Maria probably has a little bit better information on that.
Yes, so that is true. Okay, so this is a little bit confusing to me in a way because I think Congress is playing ball, right, with the situation. So we've been waiting on the second stimulus check for a while. Um, I think we heard about this about a month ago that we will get a second stimulus check, and from then I had a bunch of clients sending inbox and asking when we're gonna get it, do we need to reapply, and different questions, right? But mostly people want to know if they have to reapply for that second stimulus check. So for that, the answer is no. You don't have to reapply. If the IRS has your bank account in file, then you will automatically get it. Just like the first time. In the first stimulus check, you had to go online and you had to update your bank account if you change bank accounts. If not, then you would receive it automatically. Okay, so the answer to the question is no, you don't have to reapply. Now, Edward, can you give us a little bit of an insight or how or why we're playing ball with this second stimulus check? Why Congress is like, we will get it, we're not gonna get it, and like, why is this being a political issue at this point? I mean, we know why, but can you explain a little bit?
Yeah, the reason is because it's an election year, obviously. And because it is an election, the election is just around the corner. We're talking about maybe not even 90 days, something like that. It's just around the corner. Uh, and that's one of the reasons that everybody's trying to figure out how best to position ourselves with regards to the money that's going to be available. The Democrats want to give us a little bit more on certain areas and less on certain areas. Republicans want to give us a little bit more on certain areas. For them to get together to make things work, everybody has to understand that we're trying to help the people. They understand that, but there's so much money involved. Um, we have to understand that they look at it as a business, and they're trying to figure out not just how to take care of the people, but also how to take care of the political candidates out there, because they have to give their people, the politicians, something that they can use. I mean, if I go out there and I give $1,500 stimulus checks to everybody, and I'm a Democrat, well, that's going to help out the Democratic candidates, obviously. Same thing on the other side. If the Republicans say, well, we want 1,500, then it helps out the Republicans. But the bottom line is, you, me, those of us out here in the streets, we just want a check. We just want something to help us out today. I don't care about what they want. If you want my vote, don't worry about what I'm going to do with the money. Don't worry about your candidate. Get me the money as quickly as possible, and we'll try to give you the right vote. The longer you take, I think, in my opinion, is going to hurt more. It's going to hurt the people. It's going to hurt the businesses in our community. It's going to hurt everybody in general, because if we don't have any money to spend, it doesn't make a difference how many people are running for office. There's not going to be any money for me to donate to you so you can run. So think about it in that perspective.
That is true. So what we know right now is that the Congress is in recess, right? And they're gonna come back. Everything is stopped right now at this point. There's no negotiation until after September the 8th, right? And then what is the other? The other group comes back on September the 14th.
Yeah.
So that means that we're not gonna have a law or anything until after mid-September. Yep. Correct. That's correct. Okay, so the good thing about this is that they all agree that we need a second stimulus check. So it is, I could say it's a fact that there is going to be a second stimulus check, right? Right now, we're just waiting to know how much is that people is going to get, and also how soon. Correct. So everything seems to be that people is going to get that second stimulus check after mid-September. So the last week of September, do not count with that money before that, because the best scenario is at the end of September. And like I said, you don't have to reapply. The IRS has your number, not your number, your account number, and they're gonna deposit the money there.
Something else too that we need to think about as well is that, what do we get in between? What's happening right now that we can do something with? Well, the president signed an executive order saying pretty much that, I can't wait. The people can't wait. And I want to try to give them something right now. So he's trying to see if he can go ahead and authorize $400 a week for everybody who is currently unemployed, but he understands that people have gotten used to the $600 and they want the $600 and they need the $600. He understands that. So what he did was he asked the states for them to put up the other 200 or 25% of the deal. So that way you still get your $600, 400 from the feds and 200 from the state. Now, is that going to work for everybody? Well, not everybody, because the way he's got it set up is if you're single, you'll get the 4 and the 2, no problem. If you're married, you're looking at probably the 300 per person if you're married, because that gives you 600 as a couple. And then the rest of it comes from the state. So, either way, you're still going to look at about $600 a month, but it's going to come from 2 different sources. And he had to do it that way because the states don't have any more money in their kitties, so they can't help you with that. And the government, as we know, they have not approved any additional funds. He's going to take money that's in the system right now that was set to go somewhere else. He's going to take that and use that to give us our $400 and help us out. So let's see what happens. I don't know if it's going to work.
Yes, well, we're going to jump really quick to unemployment now that you talk about that. We have a lot of questions about it, exactly how the program works. Usually people contact me, I give them all the info I have, and I just send them to the website because I know that's the fastest way they're going to get answers. There's information in Spanish, and also the easiest way to apply is online. But sometimes people cannot use a computer, so they can go to this phone number and they can get help there. So can we answer some questions about unemployment?
Yeah, unemployment is a great question. By itself, just unemployment, that's a good question, right?
Exactly.
Here in the state of Texas, we got something that anybody can use, and that is 211. If you have a telephone, you can always dial 211, and they can get you to the right person. That's for everything that you need. If you're a veteran, if you're single, if you're a senior, whatever. If you need housing, if you need rent, if you need money for utility, whatever it is. If you're looking for a job, if you're looking for unemployment, 211 is your answer to everything in the state of Texas. Now, okay, let's say you do call 211. They say, you know what? You need to put in for unemployment, but you're going to have to do it on the computer. All right, well, here's the deal. If you're going to apply for a benefit with the government, understand this. The government's job is to always say no. That's their job. All right? So like if you go and you say, hey, I want to turn my lights on, the first thing they say is, okay, where do you live? Oh, well, I live at such and such. Okay, can you prove it? Well, no. Then the answer from the government is, no, we're not going to put your lights on because you didn't prove it. You got to qualify. And that's the whole key. The benefits is the same thing. If you go up there on the computer and you get up there and you start saying, hey, I want to apply for unemployment, one of the questions on the unemployment deal is, have you been looking for a job? If you say, no, I haven't been looking for a job, guess what they're going to tell you? No, you don't get no money. Why? Because you're not doing anything to earn it. You've got to be able to do that. So they're sitting there getting ready to tell you no. So how do you turn that no into a yes? It's really simple. Just remember that they're trying to say no. So you ask yourself the questions. If your brother came to you, if your cousin came to you, if your best friend comes to you and he says, hey man, can you lend me $500 a week? And you say, well, are you working? No. Are you going to get a job? See, you're going to ask the same questions for him too. Well, ask yourself those questions and say, am I looking for a job? No. Well, then I'm not going to give you no money. And the state's going to do the same thing. So learn how to say yes. Learn how to, to look. And I'll give you something even better than that. Every time you go someplace, if you are really unemployed right now, every time you go someplace to no matter what, buy a taco, get a Coke, put in some gas in your car, whatever, go inside and ask the person, are you hiring? And when the man says, no, we're not hiring, go and get your little piece of paper and write down, I stopped at the taqueria on, Ella and whatever. I asked for a job. They are not hiring. Because when you go and apply online for your benefits or unemployment, they're going to ask you, are you looking for a job? You're going to say yes. And you're going to be able to write down where you went to look for a job.
So people has to have the record of the times they've been applying or looking actively for a job. So you actually have to look for a job if you're applying for benefits. And another question, go ahead.
And anybody who's put in for a job anywhere, if you have a resume and you have a resume that you send out to jobs, that's the same thing. You're saying, yeah, look, I've applied for these things. I've done these things. So I qualify. You're doing exactly what the government says. You're qualifying yourself for that position. If you sit there and you don't have any qualifications, how can I hire you?
Exactly. So another question we had is, if you get fired, you do not qualify for employment, correct?
90% of the time, that's true. 90% of the time, you do not qualify if you're fired. But that's not always the case. It depends on how you get fired.
Okay, and we were talking about this law that we have in Texas that's called fire at will.
Yeah, at will. To work at will, that means that a business has a right to fire you whenever they want. They don't have to give you an excuse. They don't have to tell you why. All they got to do is say, you know what, today, I don't need you no more. Bye. And you have to leave. You're done. But it works the other way too. As an employee, you also can say, you know what, boss, I quit. Why are you quitting? I don't have to tell you why I'm quitting. I quit and go home. You don't have to give no 2-week notice. But why is that important? It's important because it gives the employer a chance, the business, the owner, a chance to make adjustments in his operations immediately. Sometimes we have to hire people really, really quick. Sometimes we got to fire people because we don't have no money. So you have to do it that way, but we don't have to tell you why we're doing it. Now, if I tell you I'm firing you because you're late, I'm firing you because you never comb your hair, whatever it is, I have to be able to prove that. If not, then you as the employee can go to the Texas workforce and you can apply for your unemployment, and you're also going to state why. You're going to say, because I think I was fired wrongfully, a wrongful termination. And they're going to start an investigation to find out if this is true or not. Because they have to, if they're going to give you a reason, they've got to be able to prove it. And here's the deal. It's very important that we understand these things. If I go to somebody and I say, this is the third day you came to work and I smell, beer on your breath. That's it. You're fired. Well, guess what I have to do? I have to offer you counseling. Now, does every business have to do that? No, not every business, but most businesses do, because we have government contracts, or we deal with the government one way or another, or we have to pay taxes, or this. There's a lot of little things that go into it that govern who we are and what we do. But for the most part, yeah, almost every business has to do that. But I have to prove that. So I got to prove that you're drinking. I have to prove that I talked to you about your drinking. I've got to set up some counseling for you, and I got to pay for it. If I do all this and I document it and you still come in drunk, I got you. I can fire you, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's no way you're going to get unemployment. But if I don't do that, then we find out that, maybe the reason you're drinking is because of something I'm doing at work. We don't know until we, I could be putting a lot of pressure on you, and you're just getting to it. And here's another one too. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. The guy that you think might be drinking, he may not even be drinking. It could be that he has diabetes, because the person with diabetes, severe diabetes, their breath smells like alcohol. So you fired him for the wrong reason.
It's the same thing when people's taking medication that makes them drowsy, and then the boss thinks that they're hired or something, right? And then they get
Yeah.
fired. So what we're trying to say is that if you apply for unemployment and you were denied, you can still request a revision, or what would be the exact word? Like
Review. Ask for a review.
ask for a review. Okay.
Yeah.
So you could ask for a review of your case. They open a case, I'm assuming,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Okay. So you can do that, and you can try to get the unemployment anyways.
Yeah. And
Okay.
there's a lot of good attorneys out there, unemployment attorneys that can help you with a lot of these questions. There's a lot of agencies like the University of Houston Legal Clinic, the South Texas South College. Is that South? Which is one of those? TSC, right? They also have a legal clinic, and they can answer these kind of questions as well. And the Department of Labor also has all this online. Everything I'm telling you is in a book. You can look it up, just punch in there, say this happened, and it'll tell you exactly what to do on that. So there's a lot of help out there.
Okay, so if you receive a letter that say no, you don't qualify, don't take that as 100%. You can always ask for a review, and like you say, their job is to say no. So
Their
try
job
to get a yes.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're in a tough situation right now and you cannot find a job and you need unemployment, you can definitely apply. I know it's one of your rights because you pay for that.
Yes.
So you pay into your unemployment, so you have the right to receive it if you need it.
And so does the business. The business also pays because we pay, workman's comp for injuries, and we also have unemployment that we have to be a part of all that stuff as well. It doesn't come free. Somebody has to pay for that. You don't those checks that we give people, the $600, whatever, it's not free money. It has somebody's paid it, and it may very well be you. It may be your money, like in Social Security. Social Security, all that money, it belongs to us. Now, they don't want to give it to us right away, and there's a reason for that. We'll talk about that on another show.
Okay,
Edward,
so go ahead.
a question. So people who get fired or unemployed because they contracted COVID-19 and they were fired, can they apply for unemployment? And because I guess they were fired because of COVID-19, right? They had COVID, and the boss said, "Hey, you spent 2 weeks over there at your home quarantine, but I needed to get someone." How does that play out in unemployment?
Okay, they have a right to file for the unemployment, and when they do, they'll say why. This is I had been exposed. I had been told by the medical doctor that I had to go home for 14 days in quarantine. My wife, my cousin, somebody was COVID-19, and therefore I went ahead and I stayed home. There's a lot of reasons you can say, but the bottom line is when you put in for it, you want to be able to sit there and say, hey, yeah, this is something that I should never got fired for. Let the state worry about that. You just tell them what happened, and they'll be more than happy to help you out with that as well. I've got to take this call. I'm sorry.
All right. All right, Maria. So Eduardo had to enter an
Yes, I
important
understand.
phone call.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And-
so that's exactly what we're talking about. I received some questions from clients, and they're asking me that if they can apply for unemployment. So the answer is yes, and you can call 211 if you need any more resources. There's a lot of information available, and there is resources to help you if you're in a situation where you need money to pay your bills, to pay your rent. There's organizations that are there to help you, and you have to apply to receive those benefits. So the question also is, if you get fired, can you apply? The answer is yes. You can apply. You probably or could be denied, and then when that happens, you just request a review, and that should give you more answers about why or how can you receive those benefits. Do you have anything else to add, Raimundo?
Other than
Unemployment?
Edward, yeah, other than what Edward mentioned, whenever you apply for unemployment, like he said, they're gonna ask you if have you been looking for a job, or are you looking for a job, and your answer has to be yes for them to actually give you unemployment, and you actually have to look for a job. And he said it in simple, whenever you go to buy tacos, let's say in a taco stand, whenever you go in gas in a station, or you go buy donuts or somewhere, just you can ask them, hey, are you guys hiring? If they say no, no, and then you just write it down, the address and the name of the place, and there you go. You just went to an establishment to ask for a job, and they say no. You just look for a job. So, you know, that is an important question. If you answer no, that you're not looking for unemployment, like Eduardo and Maria said, they're gonna deny you. And that this is what we're trying to do here is inform you how to get those benefits.
Exactly. I'm gonna say again when we talk about the second stimulus check. First of all, you don't have to reapply. If you got your first stimulus check in your bank account, then that means the second stimulus check should be deposited there. Okay. The second is the date. So we should wait until after September the 15th or mid-September to get an update on when exactly we're gonna get that stimulus check. The third is it's almost a fact that there's gonna be a stimulus check, a second stimulus check. Okay, so that's good news. There's a lot of people that is suffering right now because they don't have a job and they don't have a way to pay the rent and keep up with the bills. So that is good news because there is going to be a second stimulus check more likely, right? Unless something extraordinary happens and then it takes longer. But it seems like everybody agrees that um, people need a second stimulus check. So that is a good thing. Uh, the thing that we're waiting to know is the amount, the exact amount that people is going to get. We don't know yet, and obviously we heard that it's the same $1,200, and we hope that will be more or less, right? Uh, but we don't have the right amount. Okay, and now there is people that are still waiting for the first stimulus check. Remember that the IRS said that they will take up to September for that people to get the checks. Now they're not getting checks like in paper, they're getting cards in the mail. Okay, and also we're having trouble with the mail because there is an issue going on. I don't know if you heard about it, but
Yes,
the mail, USPS has a.
there's some problems, and I guess that's more like into politics and what's going on in the political arena and everything that's happening. And like Eduardo mentioned, it's an election year and politics, and it's in play. But uh, like you said, like you mentioned, Maria, they're gonna get it. Hopefully, they get it, and by September, you said mid-September. Hopefully, they get it.
Mhm.
Oh, Eduardo.
I'm back. Thank you. Sorry
Awesome.
about that.
That's fine. So
Yeah,
we were just talking about. We were
I
just
got a chance to listen to what you were talking about though. So
okay. Yeah, well, so we were just talking about the second stimulus check again. So we were talking about unemployment with you, and you were giving us some information about uh, how can the people reapply if they were denied. And the other thing is how if people was not affected directly by COVID-19, for example, somebody worked in a place where somebody had COVID-19 and they're scared to go back because they don't want to get it or they want to catch it. So can they apply for unemployment?
uh, I haven't seen a case like that yet, but my understanding is from everybody that I've talked to, and we have talked about that particular question. Yes, they can apply for it because the stimulus and the CARE Act were specifically for COVID, no matter what happened. So yeah, my understanding is this.
So what if I quit? Can I apply?
Yeah, as far as I know, you sure can because again, the CARE Act. One of the things, if you remember, on the stimulus, the first stimulus, and I'm going to guess the second one too, it didn't make a difference whether you owed money to the government or not. They were going to give you the check because it was covered under the COVID-19 Act, and therefore there was no limitations as to what. So yeah, if you quit because you're afraid everybody there, at work is sick, I don't want to get it because I fall like me. I fall into the class. I'm going to be 60 years old next in November. I've had a heart attack, two heart attacks actually. The first one wasn't enough. I needed to do another one. But anyways, and then and I'm old, so yeah, everything that they say I should worry about, I'm there. So I don't want to go someplace where I think I might get the virus. Sure.
Okay, so another question that we have often is if I work 40 hours a week and now they cut in half my hours, can I apply for employment?
If as a part-time employee, which is anybody under 38 hours, normally you're not supposed to. Again, under the COVID, under the CARE Act, and hopefully under the HEALS Act, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to be able to apply for a stimulus type of unemployment, which is what they were doing with it. So yes, you should be able to do that. The first one, they said you could. I mean, they said, that a lot of people had got their hours cut because the restaurants cut their hours and the beer joints cut their hours and everybody was cutting their hours. So to help offset it, now you may not get the $600. You may only get enough to cover, whatever you're missing, but that's better than nothing.
That is true. Okay, now a little reminder is that unemployment is taxable. So you're gonna get a form from the unemployment office and you're gonna have to pay taxes on that. Okay, so next time you do your taxes, which is next year, don't forget to bring your tax document, your little paper that you're gonna receive to your tax preparator so they can add that into your income. So this year it's gonna be crazy with people getting those things and paying taxes on that. So if you have a big refund, usually because you get paid in the W-2, this year you're gonna have to pay taxes on that unemployment. So you might see a little bit of a reduced amount in there. Also, I know that we don't supposed to pay taxes for the money that is for this COVID-19, the CARES Act, the first stimulus check and the second stimulus check. We don't supposed to pay taxes on that. So that's what I know so far, but I don't know if they're gonna change anything by the end of the year.
Oh,
I don't think so because you could not refuse it. So people that was like, oh, we don't need it, they didn't have a choice. They got it in their bank.
well, let me put it to you. Um, the government never gives anything for free. Never. It's never happened. You're gonna have to pay for it somewhere down the line. You're gonna end up having to pay for it. I guarantee it, because they're gonna say either you did receive the money, but because of the fact that this happened last year, which will be 2021, right? This happened in 2020. You're not gonna have to pay for it. But then 4 years down the road, they're gonna say, oh, you know what? You're not eligible for the tax credit, or you're not eligible for this because you took that money. Somewhere, somebody's gonna say, no, you got to give it back. It's gonna happen. It always does. So plan on it. Plan on whenever you get money from the government, plan on having to give it back. Sooner or later, somewhere down the road, they're gonna take it back.
Yes, and I read a couple of articles that say that they're gonna increase the taxes somehow. So we're just waiting to see what happens with the elections, right?
Yep.
And see how everything goes. So right now it's very iffy for everybody. So
I mean, let's face it. I mean, if I had, if I had some money in the bank and my kids came to me and they said, hey, Dad, I need some money. I need to borrow some money. I'd give it to them. Whatever you need, just take it. I mean, just let me know. I'll get you back on your feet. But as soon as they get back on their feet, even Dad's gonna say, you remember that money I gave? I need some tires, brother. I need for you to come over and cut my grass. I need for you to fix my window. I need somebody to paint. You see what I'm saying? Somehow or another, I'm gonna get it back.
Yeah. It's same thing with the daddy government.
Yep.
We have to pay back. Yeah, what I meant, but what I was saying is that we're not gonna get a form that says you got this money and you have to pay taxes on it. But yeah, we're gonna pay that in a sense, but not exactly in a form like the way you're gonna pay unemployment. You're gonna
Well,
pay tax.
look, just like you said right now, we know that the care money and the HEALS money more than likely will not be a taxable deal. But if they run it under the unemployment, yeah, unemployment is taxable no matter how you look at it. Now, they may say, well, uh, it came under the CARES Act. Okay, fine, but I guarantee you the state will say, well, yeah, but only 25% of it was actually federal money. The rest of it was ours. So you owe us this money. Somewhere they're going to figure it out. And like you said, they're going to give you a piece of paper that you're going to have to take to somebody who does your taxes to show I got it. So yeah, they're gonna figure out a way to get that some of that, at least some of that money back. And down the road, somehow we'll get it. Like you said, either you pay for it out of your pocket back to them, or they go and they say, you know what, we're going to add more tax on the gas. We're going to add more tax on the lights, more tax. What? Somehow you're going to have to pay it back. We're all going to have to pay it back.
Well, I have some statistics here for you. It says that the IRS sent or will be sending by the end of September 200 million checks. Okay. So the population of the United States is 330 million. So a good percentage of people in the whole country got those stimulus checks. So that's a lot of money that came
Yeah, it
out.
is money. When you look at it from that way, because look at it this way, $1 per person is 250. Is that 250 or 200?
No, 330 million people.
Okay, so that would be $335 million, just $1 per person. They're sending us $1,200.
Mhm.
Wow.
And I think this is based on the last, or I'm assuming, right? 330 million, that will be based on the last census.
Yeah.
Right? So that might be more people in this year, probably, right? If we count people with no status, there'll be way more people. So.
Yep.
Sorry to jump in here. It's a friendly reminder. Please fill out the census. Please do the census. That's an important thing to do. You can say that's an American thing to do because that's how you get counted. That's how you get resources, and that's how you get representatives. All right.
And if I may, I can add something to that real quick. I was at a Zoom meeting this morning with the county commissioners, some of the city officials, and almost a representative of almost every city department, and some census workers. And that was the reason for the meeting. And we're going to hold that meeting every Monday at 11:30, and that's what it's all about: how to get the word out. And I can tell you right now, from now until September 31st, billboards, texts, you name it, there's going to be somebody calling you, somebody talking to you. There's going to be pieces of paper in your water bills. There's going to everywhere you turn around, it's going to say, please fill out the census, please. It's going to be all over in every language you can think of. So it's a big deal. It's a big issue, and we need to make sure you guys fill it out, whether you're documented or not. If you have papers or don't have papers. Si estás aquí ilegal, don't worry about it. Fill it out, please.
That's true. And so far, there's no question about citizenship in the census. Now that we're talking about the census, really quick. No, right?
There's no word. And it was a dumb question anyways, because we know that the citizens are going to be counted anyways. There was no need for them to do that, but he was trying to do it in a way that would make it illegal, simply because of the fact there's just no need for it. The census is not for citizenship. It is to decide how much the population is, so that we can distribute the monies correctly to all of the communities in the United States. That's what it's for.
Yeah, that's true. So people that hasn't filled out the census, please do it. It's going to benefit everybody. It's going to benefit everybody that comes after you, your kids, for the next 10 years. So it's a great advantage to do it. So we're going to talk more about the unemployment. I don't know if we have any more questions here. Okay, something that got my attention. You say that your boss is not obligated to give you a reason to dismiss you, to tell you to go home, right?
Right. Right.
That is something that needs to be clear here.
Sure. Okay. Let me try to see if I can explain it this way. Um, the boss does not have to have a reason in this state. He does not have to have a reason to tell you to go home. You're fired. All right. All he has to do is tell you your services are no longer needed. That's it. Why? It doesn't make a difference. Why? Whether he wants you or doesn't want you, he likes you or doesn't like you. As long as he says that and he doesn't have to say anything else, that's it. It's over. You got a chance to go find another job. Now, can you file unemployment? Only if you can prove that that was wrongful termination. But he has the right to let you go whenever he wants to. So long as he says that, he's all right. He's covered. You cannot file for unemployment. You can't do much. But if he says, "Yeah, I don't like you because you're ugly," now you got it. All right.
What about
But
people that claims that they were fired because the boss didn't like them? If they claim that, but they don't have a proof of it.
oh, it happens. It happens. And I'll tell you this, uh, more often than not, the investigators are really good with the state. They really are, and they win. I've done a couple of cases where I had just that. I had a gentleman who got sick. He went home on workman's comp. He came back for his job, and while he was in the office waiting to talk to the boss so he could go back to work, he started harassing the two girls that were working in the office. He wasn't being, I mean, he wasn't being like really mean or anything like that, but he's an older gentleman and they were young, and he was trying to flirt with them a little too much. So they went to the boss and they said, "Hey, this guy, we don't want this, right?" So he came out of the office and he says, "Hey man, you can't do this to my girls. That's not right, man." He says, "You know what? I don't want you to work for me no more. Go." So the guy took off. He filed for unemployment. And unemployment says, on what grounds? Because he doesn't like me. Why doesn't he like you? Because I was trying to flirt with his girls. Guess what? He got a hold of me, which was smart, but we tried the case and I represented him in the case and we won. He got his job back and he got his money back. Why? Because you can't fire somebody just because you don't like them. And he didn't write anything down. He didn't take the testimony from the girls. He didn't take photos. There was no video. There was no. You have to do your work. Otherwise, it doesn't work that way. So yeah, he got his job back, got a wrongful termination, got some money back, got his job back. It can happen, but yeah, you can win.
Okay. So what if the boss would have some kind of proof from that? Thank you.
Oh, then it becomes totally different because now you can prove sexual harassment because flirtation is based on harassment and it is a sexual type of harassment. So yeah, he would have had that the whole thing would have changed, but he didn't have it. It was the girl's word against him, and nobody had any proof. So yeah.
Okay. So what about, this is another question I have. So if people is here with a work permit, can they apply?
If a person is here on work permit, could they apply? If they are legally within the United States, yes, they sure can.
About DACA, can they
Yes,
apply?
yes,
So as long as you have a valid social security number, you can
yes,
apply.
yes, sure
Okay.
can.
That's one of the questions I have. What about, okay, so we talk about the part-time. Raimundo, do you have any questions?
So far the questions have been answered from my side. You already talked about it, Eduardo, Maria. You both are doing a great job, and thank you. And the questions have been answered from my side.
Okay, I just have a little announcement here. So one of the changes in this new law that is different from the other law, which is this is the HEROES Act, and the other one is the CARES Act. So the first stimulus check, everybody knows the name. And the second stimulus check is that possibly the second stimulus check is going to include dependents that are more than 16 years old. So the first stimulus check, people that was more than 16 years old, they didn't qualify for the $500. So those kids that were in high school, well, even high schoolers. So those kids that were, in college, they didn't qualify for the $500 or the $1,200. And so that's something that could change this second stimulus check. Now, I don't have an update on people that is people with mixed statuses. So one has a social and one has an IT. I don't have an update on that. What I understand right now is that everything is going to stay the same. So if you didn't qualify for the first time, you're not going to qualify the second time. Do you have any updates on that, Edward?
I know that LULAC is working really hard on that right now. We've been talking to and working with a lot of congressmen and congresswomen right now, so that we can try to get that into the new bill that they're talking about. And if not, to make a separate bill, down the road after Christmas or whatever, so that we can still get that money out to the people one way or another, because we anticipate a lawsuit about to take place if they don't. But if Congress goes ahead and does offer some kind of relief, then we're not going to probably do any lawsuits. But if they don't, we are not the only ones. LULAC is not the only ones. The NAACP, the ACLU, everybody's already ready to go with their lawyers to file a lawsuit if Congress doesn't do something about that.
Yeah, and why is that so important? Because people, what I noticed is that people are starting to think about lying in their next tax return. So if they're married right now, they're like, oh no, we're not gonna file married. I'm gonna file single, the one with the social security number, and then the other person's gonna have to file on their own. So I know that is gonna be a big issue next tax season, and hopefully something happens so people don't have to lie.
Well, and that's the government's fault. They put them in that position. They should have never been in that position. The citizen should never be put in that position to where they have to prove their citizenship, because that's basically what we're talking about. We're talking about somebody having to prove that they have a right to get some money, and there's no reason why that should happen. Number one. Number two, it's covered under the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment has to do, on the Constitution, has to do with equal protection under the law. So we all have to be treated equally. None of us can be separated into a group, a special group, or classified as a special group. Now, it happens all the time, and these cases take forever to go through court. But this kind of case would not take that long, because it has to do with the government. If I go and I say, well, the Army did this, the post office did this, then that lawsuit will take 4, 5, 6 years to go all the way through. But this affects everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, you're going to have the lawsuit take maybe 3, 4 months. It won't even take that long. Sometimes it depends. If we sue, for instance, the office of the White House, which is the president himself, that case will go into the Supreme Court in a matter of days, and by the end of the week, we'll know. So it's that big of an issue. It really is.
Yes. Okay. So, well, because of people trying to lie on their tax returns, now this brings me to another question. So, people that is trying to adjust their statuses, I know immigration requires them to file together, right? For at least 2 or 3 years, I'm right?
3 years.
Okay. So that's one of the questions I have often. So they said, if we file separate, how would that affect my case? Usually I tell them, talk to your lawyer, right? So they would be the ideal person. I personally, as a tax advisor, I don't recommend it because it's a lie, right? And we don't lie in your taxes. So that's
Okay, well, you're bringing up a very good point. And the reason it's a good point is because we're talking about two different agencies. The agency with regards to the money itself, which is IRS, you never want to lie to them if at all possible. Under this particular deal, I don't think people have a choice. I think they're going to have to lie. I think that it's a legit and justifiable lie, and I think that that eventually they're going to win it anyways. So I'm not worried about that. I think we can protect the people for that. But uh, under normal situations, don't do it. Now, for immigration, we don't care. All immigration wants is 3 years of taxes. That's all we. I don't care if you're married, you're not married. I don't care if you have kids, you don't have kids. I don't care if you made any money. Just give me a tax return, even if it says zero on there. I don't care. All we want under the law for immigration is you have to show that you filed for taxes 3 years, and that's it.
And they have to file together, right?
No, not
Husband and wife.
necessarily. No, they can file again for immigration. They don't care. All you got to do is show me some paperwork. Did you file it? Yes. That's all we can. Because remember, again, the government says no. We're deciding to say no. That's one of the qualifications. So if he comes to me and he says, look, yeah, I filed 3 years, I don't care whether he's married or not. All the paperwork says is you got to have 3 years of taxes. Okay, there it is. That's all we
But for
care about.
example, if a couple, let's say the husband is getting the wife status, so they don't have to file together.
No. I said for immigration, it doesn't require that they file together. Now, for IRS, yes, they got to file together because they're living together. Now, do they have to? Well, that's not true. That's not true. And you know that's not true. A married couple can file separate, but they cannot file single because they're
Yeah,
married. And I think
exactly.
that's we got to remember that, yeah, because you can file for head of household or what's the other one? I know there's a couple other ones, but yeah, but you can't file single. That's a no. But
Yeah,
sometimes under this, you don't have a choice. Some people are going to have to do it if they want to get paid.
yeah. Well, there's things we could, they could file. Well, the thing is like when they make it difficult because if you file married filing separate, then you don't get credits like as many credits. So that makes things harder on people.
Yep.
So that's one of the things that how you supposed to get your stimulus check if there's no way around,
Yep.
So yeah. Well, that's all the information I have so far for the stimulus checks. So to recap, is we know it's going to be after mid-September. So by the end of September, we should know exactly when. And this time, we should get the checks faster than the first time. And you don't have to reapply. And there's people that hasn't gotten the first check yet. So there's still time until the end of September for that. So it's been a mess. Let me tell you that this tax season has been very different,
Yeah.
stressful in a way. Yeah. And also on top of that, we have some kind of delays with the mail. Like the
Oh,
postal service is having some trouble, and that makes things even harder for everybody.
yeah. It's tough because their budget got cut for the post office, and they're saying that they're going to be delayed in a lot of their mails. But I really wouldn't worry about it too much, honestly, because uh, most of the contracts that the post office has is with UPS and FedEx and all that stuff, and they're running good. They're running on time. So I think that they're it's one of those politics deals. And the reason it is the post office has I think the third or the fourth largest union. So that's why the post office, postal work is a big deal. Like when you go, hey, I'm a candidate and I just got the police union, I just got the firemen's union. Well, in the federal government, you want the federal employees union, and post office has their own. You want them, So yeah, they're powerful. So it probably just a politic deal more than
Yeah,
likely.
yeah, definitely. I agree with you. It's politics. It's an election year, and unions and people are gonna try to do their best to get their favorite candidate. Things that work, they work. I want something. We're gonna offer you an endorsement. It's politics. So we should not worry about that. Maybe we can do a topic later on as we get closer to the election. But it's politics.
And let's be fair about this. They're the only agency, except for immigration. But immigration now, even that's not even worth it. They're the only agency that can increase their pay whenever they want. They don't need Congress. All they got to do is raise the price of the stamp or the envelope whenever they want. The postmaster general can do that anytime he wants. He doesn't need Congress. Everybody else, we need Congress. Somebody's got to approve it. They're the only ones that don't. So if they sitting there going, "Oh, we ain't got enough money," come on, guy. All he's got to do is, there you go, we got it.
Pay more.
So yeah, they can make it. They can make it.
Okay, well, I'm really hoping that everything goes away after election because this is very crazy.
Man, I know. I need a vacation, man. I'm ready. I'm done. Whew. I'm tired.
We've been quarantined for how long, and we need rest from that one.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been hard. Okay, so I don't think I have any more questions about.
And I don't have any more answers.
Well, we cover everything pretty much. And just a reminder, people, if you need to apply for unemployment, the easiest way is to go online. We're going to put the link in this post, wherever you're watching. Hopefully there's a post down there. Just go online and apply. I know they can check how much they're receiving, how much is the total they're getting, and they have to apply every other week by phone. And remember what Mr. Edwards said is very important. We know right now there's a lot of people that's not hiring, like restaurants, or they're not at full capacity yet. So a lot of people's not taking applications. But if you go to a store or whatever, just try to have a little list of the places that you're trying to apply, and that will count, right?
Hey, listen, if I was unemployed right now, I would tell everybody, I would write on the unemployment application that I was a bartender. There's no bars that are open. I'd go out there and say,
That's a
hey,
good one, huh?
yeah, I'd go to every bar that I know and say, hey, man, you guys hiring? Man, we're closed. Okay. That's a good one.
That's definitely a good trick. Yeah, so, well, we're hoping for everything to go away and we'll go back to normal. Okay, well, that'll be all for me. I don't have any more questions or any more information. And if you need any more info, you can always send an inbox to our office and we'll be glad to help you or give you the links to the unemployment office or any other offices that we have. I know there's a lot of resources out there. You just have to be on time to apply because resources are going so fast. So you have to have all your documents ready and everything to apply, basically. And that'll be all for me. And I thank you for watching me tonight. Raimundo? We can't hear you.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Eduardo, for presenting and giving this information to the public. It was needed. If you have any more questions or any comments and concerns, you can always put it in the comments. And I can always forward them to Eduardo and Maria. Or if you have any questions for me, I'm not the smartest person in economics, but I'm always happy to share some information. Other than that, please join us Wednesday. We're gonna have our Spanish show as regular at 7, hopefully at 7 p.m. Sometimes things happen. And then on Monday, our English show, our shows are gonna be from 7 to 8:10 p.m. And sometimes on Saturdays, we're gonna have our Tex-Mex. We're gearing up. We're stepping up to have those shows. Tex-Mex for our Tejanos. It's gonna be an interesting one. Other than that, just remember the 26th, we're gonna have multiple ISDs from the state of Texas. It's gonna be a good Zoom meeting, and you're gonna learn what other districts are doing here in the state of Texas. And we may have some members from TEA, and they will also be here to answer some questions. Always, if you have questions, you can always send this to us in our message and here to Community Advisor RSR, or email us in our email. It's in the bottom. We're gonna put it in the comment Other than that, have a good night. Stay safe.